Welcome back to Forbidden Knowledge News. I'm your host, Chris Matthew. Tonight my guest is Ryder Lee. Before we bring him on, I got a couple announcements. Coming March 11th, 12th, and 13th, Forbidden Knowledge News Con. We're going to feature 8 badass presenters. It's going to be online with your Rokfin premium membership. And that means you can get the entire conference for only $10 motherfucking dollars. All you have to do is sign up through that link in the description. You get access to not only the conference, but all our premium content and all the content from every creator there on Rokfin. You can always get new episodes free there on Rokfin, on Odysee, and all podcast platforms. Check out the podcasts we feature on the Forbidden Knowledge Network. You get those on our website. That's forbiddenknowledge.news. And be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All those links are right there in the description. Guys, some of us just want to get through our day without having to wear a face diaper to go to the store, airport, or even work. Check out Fake Mask. Fake Mask has the most breathable and authentic looking masks on the market, sure to get you into stores, on airplanes, and into work. Just click that link in the description. You're going to get 10% off your order. Today I want to welcome back to the show Ryder Lee. He is a truth seeker, knowledge guardian, and spiritual educator. He uses his real-world experiences to educate and elevate others to awaken, question their reality, and expand their consciousness. He is host and creator of Raised by Giants, where he interviews others from all backgrounds about their spiritual awakening to bring people different perspectives of what's going on in the world on an individual and collective level. He shares insight, knowledge, wisdom, and awareness from personal experiences. Ryder, welcome back. What's up, man?
What's going on, Chris? It's good to see you, my friend. Thank you for inviting me on. I really appreciate you and all the work that you're doing, my friend.
Yes, man. Thank you so much for coming on, and especially on late notice. Always a good man for that. You never let me down, so thank you for coming on. You sent me in your message earlier some of the stuff that we were kind of throwing around, maybe talking about tonight, and I thought it was a very important topic you came up with. Basically, talking about the inversion of reality and how traumatic events are basically used for mind control and creating social norms and, of course, fear on a mass scale. And we have seen this on a mass scale in the past couple of years. In fact, some of the things that have happened in the past years have accelerated the social brainwashing to a point where we have people on one side of the coin accelerating their downfall into basically a descent into madness. And the other side, we have people kind of on the upswing. Their consciousness is rising and they're kind of evolving. So it's a very important time for people, especially spiritually, in how we're dealing with the mind control that's occurring on a mass scale. And in 2020 and beyond, some of the things that we all, enjoyed as conspiracy theories have turned into reality. So conspiracy theories are now like an endangered fucking species. So it's very interesting what's happening now in these times. It's terrifying. It is fun at times. It's interesting. Sometimes it's hilarious, but always a good time. So let's get your take on how we can kind of break out of this fear-based mind control and maybe set up a different reality,
Well, we are definitely at a crossroads right now, Chris. You know this, I know this, everyone listening knows this, that we're at a point where it's a make or break kind of point where we're either going to go in one direction or we're going to go in the other direction. And I, for one, want the reality that's beneficial for everyone, right? I think that's what everyone really wants, but they've been so mind controlled and manipulated and indoctrinated to want the opposite thing, right? They do the opposite thing and then thinking that it's going to get them the thing that they want, right? It's a mass formation psychosis, and that's how they get us into that state, is through traumatization, right? They traumatize the shit out of us over and over and over and over again. I mean, look at, Pearl Harbor. Pearl Harbor was a mass traumatizing event. World War II was a mass traumatizing event. JFK assassination was a mass traumatizing event. 9/11, mass traumatizing event. And now we have another mass traumatizing event. Right? They knew this from the MK Ultra and messing with people's brains and all the things that they were doing back in the late 70s, early 80s. And they were like, okay, well, let's just expand this out even further. Like, how far can we take this? Right? How far can we get with this whole project? We figured it out on an individual scale, how we can break people's consciousness in half and then supplant certain ideas, thoughts, and beliefs inside of their head. And then let's take it. Let's do it worldwide now. Let's just get everybody on this bandwagon. Now, that doesn't mean the individual MK Ultra isn't a thing. That's still happening, right? They've just taken it a different direction now, and they use that in a bunch of different ways, right? They can literally traumatize people, and trauma doesn't have to be a big thing either, Chris. Like, it can be something really small, something very insignificant, right? This happens to us on an individual level too. Like as a child and as a kid, right? We can, something very small can happen to us, and then we'll be like, we'll form our entire reality around that small little thing, and this has been a huge, huge impact on the children. Right? It's really affected children horribly. Like, they're going to be growing up in a reality where they think that they need to cover their freaking mouth with a face diaper, in order to participate in society. Right? We see that all the time in schools and everything now. They're forcing kids to wear face diapers. Like, it doesn't make any sense other than to manipulate the culture and manipulate the people to push them into a certain direction, all the while making them think that they're doing the right thing, right? It's the biggest narcissistic behavior it's a mass narcissistic psychosis, traumatization. I just stringed a bunch of words together there, but
man, it's unfortunate that our planet is run by these psychopaths who use generational trauma-based mind control techniques to not only control their people, the populace, but their own children. Like, these people that grow up in these positions of power, they've been through generations of abuse, trauma, mind control. Their parents probably put them through these sick 3-letter agency, MK Ultra, deep, dark faction programs that they say have been disbanded, but probably still go on from today. But they use these to mold and shape these people to the elite psychopath that you see in front of the television telling you to go and wear a face diaper. I don't think that these people are born this way, and I think that that's a huge part of molding it, and it perpetuates everything. It perpetuates a trickle-down effect, and our whole world is run by fear-based mind control, and it's a sick thing.
Yeah, it's a top-down system, right? Whatever the people at the top are doing trickles down in the rest of society, right? It's a pyramid scheme. It's a classic freaking people trying to tell you that you can make money online. You know what I mean? Like, they'll be like, yeah, just make money online. Like, you don't need to be working, blah, 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 blah. That's a pyramid scheme. It's exactly the same concept that you're speaking of in a global way, right? The ones at the top, they do all this screwed up, messed up stuff. It's like, okay, you work in a job, right? And your manager's a shithead, right? He's a dick, right? Well, what's that do to the employees, right? That's going to turn the employees into dicks too, right? Well, if it doesn't, they're like teetering on that edge.
Yeah.
And then what happens to the customers, right? If the management's dicks, the employees are dicks, then you're going to get the customers that are not very happy, right? And excuse me, I had to cough there. like that's really like the whole process of like how all of this stuff works. Whenever the top is super corrupt and whenever the top is not doing good things to the people, then that inadvertently trickles down onto everyone else. And then we have this whole screwed up system, socially, work-related, personal, like problems. If they were to, and that's what it's going to have to take. It's going to have to take a changing at the top, because working from the bottom is very, very difficult.
Man, you're right. Like I spent years of my life with depression because of my job. Like I would wake up in the morning and just feel sick to my stomach that I would have to go, do the work I'm doing, kind of deceive people and lie, but the lying was part of my job. Like it was part of my training. It was part of what I did. I did corporate sales for this sleazy company. It was a big sleazy company, but I loathe doing things like that. And on a mass scale, this occurs where people are not unhappy with not only their jobs, but so much in their life because they have these expectations and they want to have a certain amount of money, a certain amount of material possessions, because they've been told their whole life if they don't, they're not worth something. They're not worth as much. And they're defined by what they have, by their job. And if they don't have a certain, if they're not hitting that certain level according to what society's telling you, it's going to depress some people, and they're going to feel like, oh man, I'm not doing good. I suck. I'm not good at my job. I'm not good at this. I'm not hitting those marks like everyone else. When in reality, everybody could be hitting the highest marks if they were doing what they're passionate about, if they were doing what they wanted to do in life. And that's the problem. Instead of people doing what they want to do in life, they do what they have to. They feel like they have to out of fear and mind control and all the social constructs that we have.
Yeah, and then that creates a whole other host of problems. It creates anxiety, depression, on mental health, a bunch of mental health, suicidal tendencies, like all kinds of different problems within the individual. Right? It's unbelievable how like certain things that we think that aren't affecting us really are affecting us. And it doesn't have to be something big. It can be something really small that affects our entire body. I mean, trauma, whenever you replay an event over in your head over and over and over again, it doesn't matter what the event is, right? Whenever you keep playing it over, your body doesn't know the difference between you replaying the event in your mind or the event actually happening in physical reality. Right? That's how powerful our brains are, and that's how powerful our consciousness is on this whole entire level. So if we can do that and flip the negative thought process and our traumas and heal ourselves, then we're going to heal a lot of things that are happening in our reality. Right. And that's not an easy thing to do. That's a very difficult thing to do. Like I've had to work on that a lot, and I still haven't healed myself. Like it's an ongoing process, and things will pop up like that you thought you took care of before, and then it starts popping up again, and you're like, damn, like what's happening? I thought I took care of you like a year ago or 2 years ago, so you keep working on it and you keep going and you don't give up.
Yeah.
Right. Just because it's uncomfortable to go through doesn't mean that you shouldn't be doing it. Uncomfortability is something that we have to work through. And if you're not being uncomfortable in the things that you're doing, then you're not growing spiritually, consciously, you're not evolving yourself. But an issue is that people want to put themselves in a box, right? They want to live in a nice little box. They want to sleep on a box, you know what I mean? Like on your bed. They want to watch a box. They want to look at a box, live in a box, work in a box, and then as soon as they start to kind of step outside of that, they're like, holy shit, like what's going on? There's so many more things outside of these boxes that I've been living in this entire time, and I don't really know how to handle it. So therefore I just revert right back to the box, right? Because the box is super comfortable for me to be in. It's like, indoctrination through like religion and religious programming, right? They get you at a certain really, really young age, right? They indoctrinate you with all these kinds of beliefs. And then it doesn't matter the information that's coming out that's contradicting that, right? Because you just keep reverting back to it over and over and over again. That's one of the hardest things to break. And it's the exact same way with growing up and your parents pounding into your head that you need to go to college, you need to do this, like you need to have a good job, you need to have the hottest girlfriend, you need to have the biggest house, the nicest car, the brand new watch, and it's the exact same kind of programming that's going on. And again, it's trickled down from religious indoctrination. I really think that that's where we can lead a lot of the stuff that's going on in our reality back to religious indoctrination, organized religion, right? Like, I don't care if you want to believe in Jesus, or you want to believe in Krishna or Hindu, or, whatever, lizard people. I don't care, but like whenever it's organized in such a way that doesn't allow you to step outside of it or be in any kind of other material or read anything else, then there's a problem there.
Right.
And that's trickled down to the TV and people getting up there and preaching a certain kind of belief system, right? Like talking heads on the TV. It's the exact same thing as a preacher, a bishop, someone in the church that's telling you what to believe. Or there's literally no difference. And I don't think anyone's really correlated that as much, and they pound the exact same things in your head. If you went to the church today, they'd be still talking about the exact same thing that they've been talking about for 2,000 years.
For sure.
Hasn't changed.
Yeah. Another, well, I don't want to say problem. It's always been there. Like all these things that we're uncovering now, they've always sucked. They've always been there. We're just now kind of seeing now. We're just realizing that they've always sucked. We're realizing that we've been enslaved. That being said, we need to realize some of the things that we've been doing in our own family units that are harmful, that are destructive, that need to change. There is a massive agenda to kind of destroy the traditional family unit right now, which is very obvious, and from different angles, many different angles. But it's from programming, mainly from social programming in the media and social media and woke culture, things of that nature, trying to basically dissolve what we once thought of as a family unit. And in some ways, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, although I don't think it's a good thing either. I think we need to look at the family in much different ways, because we've been treating family just like these generational psychopaths have been treating their family in ways with trauma-based mind control, because, we always say, oh, well, my dad did it, so it's okay. His dad did it, so it's okay. It's a family thing, but no, it's a trauma torture thing. So it's really not okay. And that's like, when people say, so, it's part of their culture. It's okay if they cut that bull's head off and prance around and dance with it and wrap their intestines around and kill 100,000 animals. It's part of their culture. Well, maybe their culture's a little brutal and should be looked at. I don't know. Who am I to judge any of that stuff? But it is kind. I think there's a lot of fundamental concepts about the way our society works that is just based off of these indoctrination programs that we need to take a new look at. Some of these old systems don't work. Everything in my view needs to be rebuilt from the bottom. And I think that's what we're seeing now, is a crumbling of these old systems, because people are seeing that they're ridiculous and they don't work, and they're built off of foundations that are just of pure evil and fuckery,
You're 100% and completely right in saying that that things have been this bad for a really long time. But then my question is, why haven't we done anything about it? Why are we still continuing to buy into it?
Like you said, we were comfortable, man. The comfortable is the key.
Yeah, I mean, it really is the comfortability of how everything was set up, but that's a big reason why no one wanted to change. Like we've literally had free energy since Tesla created it, and then Thomas Edison came in and was like, yeah. And then the government was like, nah, like we got to destroy all this shit because it's not profitable. How can we profit from free energy? If we wouldn't have had those kinds of people and that kind of thinking, then we would be probably thousands of years ahead of where we currently are. Because if things would have developed as much as they have with the technology that we have now, I mean, it's only been 25 years ago that cell phones were first invented. Like technology has really had a really big uptick in the way that we've developed. Like we didn't have that kind of technology back. I mean, computers weren't even like a thing, and it's completely gone. It's moved forward so quickly. So imagine if we would have had the free energy in the things that Tesla was creating back in the day. If we would have gotten that from the very start and from the very jump, who knows where we would be right now? Yeah. Everyone would probably be an interstellar race.
And man,
right? We would be traveling everywhere.
You have to consider this. We may never see any of this hidden free energy technology, at least maybe not in our lifetime. We always hear that the Galactic Federation is coming to save us, and they're coming with their med beds, and we're going to have all this technology. The aliens are going to land on everybody's lawn and dispense med beds to everyone. Well, you know what? That's not going to fucking happen. I'm sorry, guys. We're not going to be saved by the aliens or anyone else for that matter, and I don't think we're going to be presented with any of this technology, especially from our own government. But that being said, why don't we create our own? Why don't we have some smart motherfuckers out there? I know that we have some people working on stuff that are afraid to come out with it because they're afraid that they're going to be suicided because of it. We have people all the time that are just, dying because they came out with great inventions. But I think that we should stop waiting for them to release this stuff and maybe kind of go around and figure it out ourselves by any means necessary. I mean, Hitler channeled aliens to make the Hanabu and these experimental crafts. Why can't we? Come on, guys. We got to take advantage of this stuff.
I was just thinking about that the other day, dude. How many people has had supposed contact with aliens and stuff? Like, Why haven't they given us freaking schematics to freaking build all this shit on our own? You know what I mean? Like, why haven't we gotten the schematics to build a freaking ship to travel out in the universe? Why haven't we gotten schematics for free energy, schematics for med beds or whatever, if they really exist? But you're totally right there. No one's coming to save us. Like, we have to do that on our own. And it starts within. Like, we have to heal ourselves. We have to do, I mean, that's really the only way. I mean, putting your hope and your trust and your faith into some kind of outside source is not going to get you anywhere, and especially, I mean, we see it all the time with the people that are in charge, the people in power. People are like, oh yeah, if we just do what they say, then they're going to save us and blah, 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 blah. Looking at aliens or ETs or the Galactic Federation or Ashtar Command is doing the exact same thing. You're placing your faith in an illusionary outside source, just like you've placed your faith in the government.
Right.
So it's one and the two.
Yeah, man. One thing that I've learned, especially in the past year and a half, is, I mean, for me, the key to I can only speak for myself. The key to my own happiness was just to stop participating in the negative, stop participating in the things that didn't make sense, stop worrying, get rid of all the fear aspects, and focus on what I'm doing, and everything else, it doesn't matter. We're being threatened right now with nuclear war, with possibly oogada boogada jabs that are going to make Cthulhu squids birth out of us when 5G waves turn on. I mean, we got some pretty dark things that are possibilities right now, but I think if you focus on the good in what you're doing and what you could be doing, instead of focusing on the negative and the doom and gloom and when these Cthulhu squids are going to be popping out of everybody, maybe come up with a solution on how to dissolve the Cthulhu squids before they pop out of everybody. Now, this is a joke, guys. I honestly don't believe that Cthulhu squids are going to... It's a possibility, but, you know... what I'm saying is, you know, just don't pay attention to the bullshit.
Yeah, that's another agenda by the dark side manipulators of our reality, whatever you want to call them, is to get everybody in that frame of mind. I mean, there are infiltrators and people that talk about that stuff on purpose to kind of program that into people's reality, to make it seem like we can't do anything about it, you know, to get us really, really down, to think that this system is so fucking overwhelming that it's impossible for us to break out of, when the opposite is true. We have the power to do it. It's just, are we going to do it? And I think that it's starting. I think that is really going to happen, but it's going to catch a lot of people off guard by the ramifications that we're going to get by it. You know, like I just had Penny Kelly on my show tonight, and she's talking about how, you know, everything's going to collapse, you know, and it's going to be very, very difficult for a lot of people. Like, it's going to all come down, you know, and it's not going to just come down tomorrow. That's not the way that it works. It's a slow process. You know, nothing ever just happens like out of the blue. Like, and I think that that's what people are expecting. They want like a giant, huge event so they can be like, oh yeah, I was totally right about that. It is really going down, you know, but that's not the way that it works. It's a slow trickle down effect, you know. And she's talking about how the food disruptions and the things that are going on in Canada right now at the moment is one of the catalysts for the whole thing to completely fall apart. And she's totally right. Like the food supply chain disruptions that's going on. I mean, shoot, you can walk into your grocery store right now and you can see empty shelves. You know, it's happening. Like, that's a reality.
Yeah.
You know, there's not any hiding it anymore that we're going through these things. I mean, I saw this back in like right whenever all this nonsense started happening. I was like, this is just a huge catalyst to completely collapse the entire system. Now, again, it's not just going to happen overnight. And it's a slow process. And it takes time. Like, because if they were to just do it all at once, that's an alarming thing. People will be like, oh, well, what the fuck is going on? You know, that's going to wake too many people up all at one time. So it has to be dominoes that go. And then dominoes and the dominoes. And before you know it, it's kind of like the movie Don't Look Up, right? Right when it's right in front of you, you're like, oh, you denied it the entire time until it's right in front of your face. And then by the time it's in front of your face, you're not going to be able to do anything about it because you haven't been prepared.
Right. For sure. If there is one thing that you should be not worried about, but doing, is preparing for all this. Because if you're prepared, you don't have to worry. If you're all set with everything, like food, water, supplies, if you're spiritually prepared, you're good. You don't have to worry about that stuff. We've been prepared for a little while now. We're good over here, but it's the fact of getting prepared, you know, internally too, and spiritually and mentally, because I think you're right that we are, a lot of people are going to go through some tough times, and the supply chain, we're seeing the effects right now. But here's the thing. There is more food, there is more resources on this planet than we could ever imagine, and more than enough for everyone 100 times over. And they don't control all of it, and they can't control all of it. And all we have to do is decide that we're going to take it back, and that's all we have to do. I mean, the amount of evil people that are really behind this, that are really doing this, is a fraction of the percentage of the people who are against it and who want to take those people out. And they know this. And all we got to do, all this huge, massive number of people got to do is just, you know, drop what we're doing, turn around, pick up a the nearest thing next to them and get to work, man, and they would be running. They'd be shitting themselves. They wouldn't know what to do, and that's starting to happen. That's starting to happen in Canada. I was listening to it was a press conference, and I don't know where. Someone was listening to it earlier and overheard it. But man, these Canadian citizens are angry, and I've never heard Canadians get so angry and riled up as they are right now. But it's good if you can get if this is enough to get a Canadian angry and riled up, they fucked up, and I hope they continue to fuck up. They're making mistakes. People aren't gonna keep falling for the booster on top of booster on top of booster, and I think that there's hope, but. Yeah, we're probably going to see a little bit of tough times coming ahead, right?
Well, I mean, here's the thing, Chris, is everyone likes to mystify our controllers, right? They like to turn them into boogeyman, right? They want to blame it on, oh, it's the reptilians underneath the ground, it's the reptilians from outer space, or it's the archons, it's always the boogeyman, but it's not. What's happening is very human. They're human. They leave a paper trail. And if anyone that we should be looking at is ourselves, right? Because we've let it get this far, right? If we would have stood up in the very beginning, Chris, if America would have stood up and been like, nah, we're not having it, all of the other countries would have followed suit right then and there, really quickly. But they didn't, and we didn't, because we didn't see it as a bad thing. We saw it as we're doing something good for everyone, right? This is for the good of everyone. And it wasn't anything that was mandatory. There was nothing that happened that was mandatory in the United States, right? So they didn't see it as an infringing upon our rights and our freedoms. I mean, a lot of people did. I, for one, did, even though there wasn't like a mandatory lockdown or a mandatory any of that stuff, really, like it was in other countries. But they couldn't let America rise up first, because America is looked at as the bread and butter of the world. And some people might not look at it like that, but that's just the truth. We're the last standing superpower on the planet, Yeah. And if we fall, then the rest of everyone else falls, right? But if we rise up and we do something about it, then everyone else rises up. I mean, it's exactly like what's happening in Canada. Like, there was a lot of American truckers that went up there to support as well. That's just, but if it would have been the United States that done that, then it would have been untamable. Like, they would not have been able to control it.
Yeah.
Right? Because when the United States does something, everyone else does something right behind it. And I'm not saying that we're great. I'm not saying, oh yeah, we're the best freaking country ever. Like, it doesn't really matter to me. But we're looked at as we are, like we are, right? And based on people's perception, I mean, perception is everything. Whatever you perceive it, like, you believe it, right? If you can perceive something and you believe it, then that therefore brings it into your reality and into your life. Right? But if we would have done something from the very jump, but again, it had to be psychological. It's all psychological here in the United States. They have to trick us into making us believe that it's our idea to do it. And I've been trying to pound that into people's heads on my show, online, everywhere. It's not a boots on the ground kind of thing. Now, if it would have been a boots on the ground kind of martial law scenario that some were saying that it was going to be in early 2020, then we would have done something about it. We would have stood up, but we didn't have all the facts. We didn't have all the information. And that's the problem, is the American people don't do anything unless they have all the information. And that's the problem, is we never have all the information. So we can never come together. We can only come together before it's like too late and everything's collapsing in on our heads and everything's falling from the sky. And bricks are being thrown at us.
Look at our situation now. I mean, you're exactly right. I want to let the audience know, if you guys have any questions or comments, leave them in the chat. Join in the conversation anytime you want. We will get to it. Now, there's the level of kind of spiritual deceptions and occult practices and things that are happening at high levels. People don't want to look at. That's one of the aspects that people don't want to see, that these controllers, they have their own religions or spiritual practices that are very dark. And I believe that at their roots, they go back to these Babylonian death cults. And, that they are using ritual magic, they're using blood magic, sacrifices to shape reality, to cause events to happen. These guys watch the stars. They use astrology. So there's a kind of occult aspect to this, a spiritual side for them, that they have something backing them behind them, whether it's Baphomet or the devil or whoever they're, they have this kind of deity that is helping them in this kind of war against humanity, if you would say. And people can think whatever they want, but these guys believe that. These elitists are dark arts occultists, and they believe certain things that they have been practicing for hundreds and thousands of years. Now, on the other side, if we don't have anything that we are backing us spiritually, like God or angels or Baphomet or demons, whoever you want, whoever your higher power is, whoever is your spiritual armor, if we don't have that same kind of level of woo-woo belief, I don't know, it seems that we would be at a disadvantage, wouldn't you think?
Oh, 100%. I mean, yeah, my higher power is the pumpkin god. I believe in the pumpkin god. He's going to come and smash his pumpkins on all my enemies. But no, like, you're absolutely right in saying that they're practicing these kinds of these dark arts and these occult kinds of rituals. I mean, it's right in front of our face. I mean, they've been doing it for forever. It's and I don't know if it's actually real or if it's like just like if their belief in it is what's creating it, right? Because again, like, our consciousness is very, very powerful, and whatever we believe in is what we give our power and our energy to. Like I've talked about it several times, is like it's an egregorical concept. Is whatever you put your prayers, your thoughts, your ideas, your beliefs, your energy into, then you create it in your reality. It's kind of like that. I'm sure you've heard of the experiment that a group of paranormal investigators done, where they created their own poltergeist. Are you familiar with this? I forget what it was called.
No.
But they gave this poltergeist, this ghost, this spirit or whatever, a name. They gave it a backstory. They would talk to it all the time. And then they eventually got responses from it, right? It would eventually start like appearing to them, and they would get EVPs of this
like egregore type thing, right?
Yeah, they manifested their own entity that they had created with their consciousness, and they gave their power and their energy and their thoughts and their beliefs into it. And I honestly believe that that's how a lot of things in our reality really work. Like, that's how it all plays into effect. So whatever it is that these elites and the controllers of our reality are believing in, it doesn't matter if it's real to me. It doesn't matter if it's real to you. It doesn't matter if it's real to the rest of the population, as long as they believe that it's real. Yeah. But that's also how it works with everything else too. That's the way it works with any thought, idea, belief, truth. It all revolves around you as an individual. That's why there's not any blanketed truth. Everyone has their own truth based on their experiences of their life. Like, I can't tell you that your truth is wrong, Chris, because you're a completely separate individual than me, and you've had different experiences of your life, and what is real to you might not be real to me. What's real to me might not be real to you, but it doesn't matter because I accept you and I love you as an individual, right? And we can get along and we can have a really great conversation about stuff, but the problem comes in is whenever people want to blanket their entire reality and getting people to believe in the exact same thing that they believe, yes. revolving what's happening in the world right now with the boogity boo, right?
Yeah.
That's an egregorical thing.
It is.
Right. And people have given their thoughts, their power, their beliefs and their ideas around it. So therefore it brings it into their reality. And the elites and the people that are controlling us know this. They know that that's the way that it works. And that's a spiritual law that they can bypass and do whatever they want to us by making us think that it's our idea. It's exactly what I was talking about earlier, making us think that it's our idea by supplanting the belief and the consciousness of everybody on the planet. Because then it doesn't matter if you believe it's happening or not. They can do whatever they want to you.
For sure. And, you call me crazy, but I think a lot of the what you want to call COVID sickness that we've seen in the past couple of years has been due to people believing that they've had the COVID when, in reality it's a cold or the flu, and you go to the hospital and they mark it that you have the COVID, of course. But I think you're exactly right. It's what we're creating in our minds. I got a chat here. Justin Michael, he's asking about the Cthulhu squid babies. Man, I hope I didn't manifest the Cthulhu squid babies into our reality. Jesus. Oh, no. Justin Michael, he's asking an important question. What about Megacockzilla sequel? What's going on here?
Yeah, Megacockzilla sequel. I need to create another one. I need to make another meme. I've kind of been slacking on the Megacockzilla here recently as of late because I've had a lot of other things happening. But I probably will. I need another title for it. It needs to be like Megacockzilla fucks the world again.
Oh hell yeah! That's a word
coming back for round 2, baby.
All right, well, Justin, there you go. Look forward. It'll be sometime in the future. We'll keep you posted on the Megacockzilla sequel. Let's talk about some of the people in this community that are deceivers and fake spiritual gurus and even fake secret space people. Just the people that we've seen in the past couple of years come onto the scene, some out of nowhere, some get really, really popular really fast, and spew complete bullshit. Just, utter and complete, mixed with some truths here and there. Sometimes mixed with a lot of truths, so they're very convincing, and you're like, wow, they're a fifth dimensional clone that goes to Mars in a 20 and back program and fights mantis beings with their railgun and then comes back and transplants his consciousness through a jump room into a med bed. I don't know. Whatever these guys are doing these days. And I'm not saying that they're not telling the truth. I'm not saying that this stuff doesn't exist. Some of them, however, are not telling the truth and are full of shit. So we have to be very discerning with who we're listening to, and the information is coming from a lot of these people. And I think a lot of it is MK Ultra programs that are implanting these memories into these people. Like, these people genuinely believe that they've gone through this, but it's maybe a false memory or something along those lines. I don't know. And I'm not going to, speak for any of these individuals. I'm sure it's very real for a good majority of them. And I'm sure that is their truth, which is their truth and the only truth, because our individual truth is all there is. So I want to get your thoughts on this and some of the, maybe fake spiritual gurus that have, because we've seen a lot in the past few years, man. The past couple of years come out and just say that they have the answers to everything. They're the new spiritual Jeebus. So we're seeing a lot of this, aren't we?
Interdimensional Space Daddy returns, part 2. No, I just want to preface this by saying that the secret space program, I believe 100% is real. It's 100% legit. It has happened, and now again, the people that are talking about it, I'm not 100% sure. Like, there's a lot of wild and crazy theories, and a lot of
take
wild,
them on an individual basis, man. You gotta run them through your filter there, your bullshit filter.
Yeah, you really do. But I think that the thing that captivates people the most is that they want the experiences to be real, right? Because it's exciting. I'm not talking about the people that are saying it.
Yes.
I mean, a lot of the people, the audience wants it to be real. And there is a select few people that are 100% legit in this community, in the secret space program community. One is Penny Bradley. Penny Bradley is 100% legit.
Yes, I've had her on a couple of times.
Yeah, in my eyes, 100%. Like, she's real. All of her experiences are 100% 3D real in this reality, right? Like, all that stuff really did happen to her, and she basically has proof of all of it. Like, she's shown me. So and then another one I think is Tony Rod Riggs. Tony Rod Riggs is he doesn't have any reason to come out and say the things that he's been through, being again, I don't want to speak for him and his experiences, but a lot of the things he's went through is very traumatic, and a lot of his experiences are that if it happened to me, I would be very uncomfortable going out on any kind of platform and talking about. Right? It's not something that makes you look good. It's not something that props you up on any kind of pedestal or anything like that. Now, there are a few people that are have no idea what they're talking about, and it's very easy to spot those kinds of people. Right. And you're right. They like to take it and then put a spin on it and make it seem very fantastical. And they'll say one thing that you'll be like, huh. And then the next thing that they'll say is like, oh, well, that kind of makes sense. I could see that happening. One of them is definitely Sarah Adams, dude. Sarah Adams is just completely full of shit. 100%, and I do not feel bad saying her name because she has absolutely no idea what she's talking about. Like selling freaking med bed sessions online. Like, what are you talking about? Like, oh yeah, I want to take your light body up onto the Galactic Federation ship, and then we're going to put your light body on a med bed, and you're going to be healed of your cancer and your tumors, and everything's going to be fine. We'll repair your DNA, blah, 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 blah. Like, what is that? Like, people have to know that that's bullshit, and that is no way possible, even closely remotely possible.
Well, I'm wondering, man, if some of these people, I'm going to use an example, and I'm still going to use any names, but we know who CG is, Shmori Shmud. It rhymes with that. This is in my opinion, one of the biggest fraudsters out there. And from what I've heard, before he came out and said anything, he spent years on these conspiracy forums and these secret space forums that were kind of underground, and people were throwing around this information for a few years before. And he spent a lot of time listening, Project Camelot episodes and all this stuff, research, Ashiana Dean books, and he just made his own story, basically, and he stuck with it. Like, he kind of memorized his story so well that people would, because he'd have recall of it, he'd practice and practice and practice, and unfortunately, people fell for it, and he became a huge thing. He's still trying. He's still, doing conferences and trying to get people to believe is BS, when in fact it is just BS. And but he was good. He took a lot of time. David Schmilcox, another one of these BS guys that worked with Shmori Shmud, total fraudster. I mean, the video you sent me the other day was so funny of this, of David Schmilcock. I guess his girlfriend telling her, say some shit, just right off camera. It was the most, you're going to have to send me that video so I could put it in the link for everybody, but it's funny stuff. But yeah, these fraudsters, man, they come out and they've done a lot of research. They know their stuff to where they can kind of come across as like they know what they're talking about, unfortunately.
Yeah, and they don't think that anyone's going to stand up to them and call them out on their bullshit. I think and that's how they've gotten away with it for so long. But a lot of people did call out CG 100%. I mean, you can get on Jay Widener's YouTube channel and check out that whole story and track it back from the very beginning. Like, oh my God, dude. It's just, it's unbelievable that, and they switch things up too, right? They'll start with one thing. Whenever that thing kind of falls off, they'll just go on to the next new age bullshit ass nonsense that they're spewing out of their mouth, trying to make some kind of money. And it always revolves around paying them for some kind of service.
Well, I hate to say it, but these guys were probably the biggest loser nerd dork. Nothing really going for them before any of this. And the second they get any attention out of it, they're like, oh my God, this is the best. I got to keep doing this for more attention. I got to keep lying and being a fraud because it's the only way I can get attention. They kept doing it and do it. Oh, I can actually make money from this, even better. You can just see it all over these guys that they're just like, nerd dorks from back in the day that couldn't do anything with their life. And so they decided to lie and do it fraudulently. And hey, it got them somewhere for a little while, but they, not anymore. Hopefully everybody's seeing through that BS.
Yeah, you can only lie and make stuff up for so long before it starts kind of catching up with you. And that's another way that you can kind of figure out who's telling the truth and who's lying is if their story changes. If they start adding little details of stuff in there to support themselves. And they'll constantly keep making it more extravagant, they'll be like, oh yeah, I was on the Ashtar command ship and I was mopping the floors whenever I was first in the secret space program and I was repairing the satellite dish. And then the next week they were all of a sudden the captain of the freaking ship. You know what I mean? Like I was there, I was taking care of business. I was talking to the ship consciously with my consciousness. I was telling them where to navigate. I was navigating through wormholes, shooting down enemy ships. Like, dude, 2 weeks ago, you were just talking that you were a janitor on the ship. Like, what are you talking about, dude? But I think that's they need to make it so extravagant instead of keeping it at a certain level, and that's how you can figure out if they're frauds or if they're not, and Penny Bradley and Tony Rodriguez has been talking about the same exact stuff, the same exact thing. Their experience has not changed since day one, and those are the people that and there's a few others too that I don't have their names right off the top of my head, but those two, if you really want to get into what's going on, then I would check out those guys. They're very, very legit in my opinion and what I know about it. And they don't change their story. It's the exact same thing. And they've been talking about the same thing since the very beginning. So those are the kind of people that I put my trust and my faith in, my belief into.
Yeah. Now, Penny's had some very interesting, I guess, insights into who or what the controllers are. And one time she spoke of the parents, I believe, who are basically, I want to say, the human controllers that are kind of take care of all the aspects of things here on Earth. But there are actually, other alien races involved in what is going on here on our planet, especially right now and where we're being steered. What do you think about that? Do you think that there are malevolent extraterrestrials that are kind of a hidden hand in some aspect of this?
Yes, I do. And I don't think that they're malevolent or benevolent, right? They're neutral, right? And they look at us like a test, right? The manipulations and the games that they're playing is look, they're just like, okay, well, let's just see what happens. Like, let's see what they fall for, right? Are they going to keep doing the same bullshit that they've done every single time we've given them the opportunity to rise or to expand in their consciousness? Or are they going to keep falling down? Are they going to keep destroying themselves and imploding upon themselves? Or are they going to do something different? Right? And I think that we have to rise above that and see it as a test. But yes, they are influencing and they are manipulating. But the more that I've gotten into it, and it's in the presentation that I'm working on too, that'll be finished in a couple of days. I don't think that they're malevolent or benevolent. I think that they're just neutral. Like they don't really care. They're like, okay, well, we'll set this in motion. We'll do this. We'll put this into the program. We'll insert this into the simulation. We'll drop this little thing over here. See if these people come together. We'll see how these people interact whenever they're together. Are they going to split apart or are they going to come together?
Right.
I think that that's the way that they look at it. I don't think that it's now the human side of it, the human controllers and the human manipulators, they are very malevolent, right? They want to do most harm possible. They want to invert everything, turn everything on its head and make it the most inorganic experience in this reality that they can possibly do. Right? But I don't think that the ETs are so much like that. I honestly think that a lot of the ETs are neutral. We've just perceived them to be negative or positive. I think that the road is somewhere directly in the middle.
Man, that's interesting. I had a few other researchers on that kind of align with that as well. Some that believe that, like Johnny Enoch believes, it's all being guided by a civilization a few thousand light years away that is, in fact, just like you said, they don't really have any feelings either way, but we're experiment Earth to them, and they're trying to see if we're going to evolve and make the right decisions. And there's others that believe that there are some controllers out there that are kind of setting these things into motion because they know that the old system has to collapse and they want humanity to evolve from the evil that they've fallen into, and we have to go through these things. We have to go through these series of events to grow out of that and maybe learn from this. So in a way, the controllers, the powers that be, aren't doing this for evil. They're doing this to awaken and enlighten humanity in a really fucked up way. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean that's one way to do it. Right, they can do it that way, and that's the way that it's been done, and that's the way that they're going to do it. I mean, there's other ways that can be done that is not so detrimental to all of the people that are living on the planet. But to experience,
what's the fun in that?
Right? Like, where's the party at, bro? Like, let's get down, dude. But in order to party, grow, man. In order to grow at an exponential rate really quickly and skip over a lot of the processes that we would have to go through to do it naturally and organically, we have to go through that in their eyes, right? That's what they're thinking. Now, that's not coming from me, because I think that there's a much easier way to go about it that isn't going to cause death and destruction. Right, and everyone and chaos.
Yeah, right? And I think you're right. I think it's up to us to decide. I think we have plenty of timelines to choose from. Some awful and disgusting, and some not so bad, and maybe some even pleasant. I don't know, but I think it's up to us to choose which one is going to be the one that manifests into our reality, and maybe even different people may experience different timelines. I don't know.
It could be like a splitting, but I think that that unfortunately this timeline has been solidified, and whatever happens on this timeline is what happens, and we can change it if we're all on the same page, right? We all have to work together to be able to change it with our consciousness, because again, like what I was talking about earlier, consciousness is very powerful and it can do whatever it is that we want to do. We all just have to be on the same page with it. We can't be split, because if we're split, then I don't think that it's going to work, right? If it's split down the middle, then we're just not going to get anywhere. We're going to keep repeating the same shit. There has to be a majority vote or a majority rule on it, right? Like, are you going to put your hand up, or are you going to get on the same page for everyone's highest and best good, or are you not? Like, that's the line in the sand and the draw in the sand that I was talking about in the beginning of the show. Yeah. Like, which side do you want to be on? Do you want to be on the side that is for everyone and for everyone's highest and best good of the planet? Or do you want to be on the negative side that wants the control and the manipulation and the police state and the constant surveillance and tracking?
Yeah, it's getting kind of late to take sides now. Hopefully everyone knows what side they're on by now. I know there are some teetering, there's some still asleep, some completely oblivious. But I think that it's, I don't want to say it's up to us to do anything about those people, but it does help those people if we keep presenting the information and don't back down from our stances and do the things that we feel will help the situation. And man, one of the biggest disappointments for me was seeing Rogan kind of back down and apologize to the establishment. No matter what anyone says, yes, he apologized to the fucking establishment. And no matter what words he chose to use so eloquently, I mean, you can't back down from these freaks. That's showing weakness, and that's already a loss. It's like fucking lose one for the home team. He was one of the only big type of mainstream voices of reason, I want to say, because I don't agree with a lot of shit that Joe Rogan says or does, or guests that he has on, but he's actually he's a free thinker, so it would appear, or it appeared, and it was a kind of letdown lately to see that occur. But all the people that we once respected, in celebrities or politicians, or all these people that you look up to, eventually they all fall by the wayside and they let you down in some way. So, don't have any fucking heroes, I guess.
Remember whenever we did our roundtable on Forbidden Knowledge News back, I think it was last week, or was it 2 weeks ago or something like that?
Yeah.
And you asked the question, how do you think that podcasts will ever be censored? And I said, well, the only way that they're going to be censored is if the viewers do the censoring, right? And that's exactly what happened, dude. That's exactly what happened with Joe Rogan. And it wasn't just the whole him having Dr. Malone and the other doctor on his show, because they got past that, right? It was the digging up of his past, right? You saw that, right? Where they released a video of some of his
montage, dude. That was brutal.
Yeah. And they did that because they knew that they couldn't get away with what they were trying to do the first time, right? And everyone just looks at it as a coincidence, right? That's how stupid and dumb people are, that they were just trying to cancel him 2 weeks ago over something.
That was a fucking completely CIA nerd dork asset they had to edit that video together real quick,
100%, dude, 110%, and people can't see it. Like they were literally just trying. Like, if it would have been 2 or 3, 4 months in the future or something like that, but they were literally just trying to cancel him 2 weeks ago, bro.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, this video resurfaces of him saying all these racial slurs or whatever, which I knew about from like 4 or 5 years ago, because there was a channel that I watched on, I think it was called Enter the Stars, Casey something. I think he's passed away now, but he revealed that and he showed like all that. And like, I was like, okay, like that was his past, whatever, it doesn't matter. But they like to dig up stuff like that, right? And they want to cancel people based on what they've said in the past. Like, your tweets aren't safe anymore, bro. You better go delete. You just might as well delete Twitter and completely start a new one, right? Delete all of your old YouTube channels and all of your old podcasts, because you might have said something back 10 years ago that's not acceptable for you to say now.
Yeah.
You know, like that's the way that, and when they can't get you for one thing, they'll dig up whatever the fuck they can get on you and to push it even further forward. I mean, literally, they were trying to cancel him 2 weeks ago over his podcast and people weren't having it. I mean, yeah, there was that one guy. What's that old singer guy's name?
Neil Young, yeah.
Neil Young, which blew my mind, dude.
Keep on cucking in the free world.
Yeah, what is that, bro? Like, but anyway, there was a couple of artists that came out and was like, yeah, if you don't deplatform Joe Rogan, then I'm taking, I'll take my music off of Spotify. And the Spotify was like, all right, peace.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's going to be, it's a different situation with this, because we've had the whole movement of, the racism in the country and all that happening over the past couple of years. So whenever something like that happens, it's going to be really interesting to see what they do. Will Joe Rogan start toning it back? Did he get on? Yeah, he got on and apologized for saying that stuff, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he did. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, he kind of had to, or the mob would have came after him.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting just to see what's going to happen. I don't know, but I think that, we can't let any of it affect us. And what they're doing is they're hiding who the majority is behind this and how they feel. And I think that, people like us in this community and the free thinkers are the majority. I would like to think that most people are smarter than that, but I don't know. Have they corrupted society enough to where the most of them are these stupid people that want to go along with the mass mandates and get 100 jabbity jabs? I don't know. I hope they're not the majority, but they're hiding that from us. We won't know through the media. It's hard, really hard to tell, and I'm really am hoping that we're the majority. I don't know. And we're entering very, very interesting times here in the next few weeks. So
if it was working, then they wouldn't continue to keep pushing it. If everyone had already complied and got the boogity boo thing, then they wouldn't constantly need to be pounding it in our heads to get it. I mean, there's literally signs on the freeway here in California that says, do your part, go get the boogity boo. Like, if everyone had already gotten it and there was no opposition to it, then they wouldn't need to put signs out on it out on the freeway. And you're totally right about saying that. I mean, the mainstream media's viewership is down by a large percent, because people know that it's nothing but lies and propaganda. I think the only people that really watch the news, and I hate to say it, are older people, people that are in their 60s, 70s, and 80s that still watch the news, because back in their day, the news was somewhat of a reputable source of information.
Somewhat, yeah. Yeah, I think that's the main key is we got to break free of these generational mind control programs that we've been part of our whole lives and just look at things differently. Look at everything differently, because we're about to, no matter what, because this system's about to crumble, and whether we can be the phoenix rising out of the ashes or we're going to be taken over by a social credit communist China system, I don't know. I think it's definitely going to be up to us to make that decision. Ryder, man, thank you so much for coming on. That was fantastic. You got any announcements, anything upcoming that you'd like to talk about? I open the floor for you to speak to the audience.
Thank you so much, Chris. I really appreciate you. Yes, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel on Raised by Giants. You can also follow the show on all of the different podcast platforms, Facebook at Raised by Giants. And I've also set up a few donation sites for my channel as well. If you're a frequent listener and you like my content and the things that I put out, there's a paypal.me link that you can donate to. There's also a buy me a coffee donate link too that you can donate $5, $10, $15, the price of a coffee. And it's really difficult doing this kind of work. It's very time consuming and it takes a lot of energy and a lot of effort. And I hope that you can find it something to try and donate and help support people like me and Chris and other really awesome people that are putting out really great information, to expand and challenge you to think. I mean, and it doesn't matter if people donate or not. I'm still going to be doing what I do because I love it. Right. This is my passion and this is what I love to do. But it's just getting really difficult, and I want to expand the amount of shows that I do. I want to start doing a couple a week, and then I'm also finishing up my presentation called "We Are the Chosen, We Are the Fallen," and that will be finished up in a couple of days, and I will be on Wayne Steiger's YouTube channel presenting it on Thursday morning at 11 p.m. And then I'll have to get with you, Chris, to see if I can come on in a few weeks or whatever to present it. But thank you guys. Thank you all for listening. I really appreciate you all, and much love and appreciation to you, Chris. I really appreciate you, brother. You're a really solid dude and a really awesome friend. And I don't know where I would be if it wasn't for you, brother. So much gratitude to you.
Oh, thank you, brother. And please send, right after we get off, send me all those links that you were just mentioning so I can put those in all my description boxes, and we'll get those up for you. And thank you again. Guys, help Ryder out. He's making some amazing, solid content. He's on the Forbidden Knowledge Network, Raised by Giants. Go support him. Check out all his channels, podcasts, stuff like that. And thank you again for coming. We're going to do it again, of course, sometime soon, my brother.
Thank you.
Till next time, everyone, have an excellent evening. We'll talk again tomorrow.